What if I told you that the more you explain yourself, the weaker you become? A humble lantern maker discovered a truth that changed everything, and it might change your life too. Stay with me. In a quiet village surrounded by rolling hills and whispering forests, there lived a man named Thomas Gray. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't famous, he was simply a lantern maker, a craftsman who poured his heart into every piece he created. His lanterns weren't just objects, they were works of art, each one carefully assembled, each flame steady and true. Thomas believed that honest work and a kind heart were enough to earn respect. But he was wrong. It started on an ordinary morning in the village square. Thomas was arranging his lanterns when a voice cut through the crowd like a blade. "These prices are robbery! You're nothing but a greedy cheat, Thomas Gray." Mr. Clark, the village tax collector, stood there, pointing an accusing finger. The crowd turned. Whispers spread like wildfire. Thomas's heart sank, but he kept his composure. "Mr. Clark, I understand your concern, but let me explain. Each lantern takes 3 days to craft. The glass is imported, hand-cut. The oil reservoirs are designed to burn longer and cleaner. The brass fittings are excuses. All I hear are excuses." And just like that, Thomas's words dissolved into the air. No one listened, no one cared. Day after day, the accusations continued. Villagers twisted his intentions. His kindness was called manipulation. His quality was called overpricing. His silence was called guilt. Thomas tried everything. He explained, he demonstrated, he showed his workshop, his materials, his process. Nothing worked. The more he explained, the less they believed. The more he justified, the guiltier he seemed. Thomas felt himself drowning in a sea of misunderstanding, gasping for air that never came. One evening, exhausted and defeated, Thomas sat by the river's edge. The sunset painted the sky in shades of amber and gold, but he couldn't see its beauty. His mind was too heavy. That's when he appeared, an old monk in simple robes, walking the path beside the water. "You carry a great weight, my son. Would you share it with an old traveler?" Thomas looked up, surprised. Something about the monk's eyes, calm, knowing, infinite, made him feel safe. And so Thomas poured his heart out. The accusations, the explanations that fell on deaf ears, the exhaustion of defending truth to people who refused to see it. "I've tried everything, Father. I've explained 100 times, but they've already decided who I am in their minds. How do I make them understand?" The monk smiled, not with pity, but with understanding. "Tell me, son, if a man believes the sky is green, would your words make it blue?" "No, but the sky is blue. That's just fact." "Exactly. And yet, if he's decided it's green, your explanations mean nothing. You could speak until your voice breaks, and still he would see green. The problem isn't your words, Thomas. It's that you're trying to change what someone has already chosen to believe." Thomas felt something shift inside him, a door opening in his mind. You waste your flame trying to illuminate the darkness inside others, but darkness cannot receive light unless it chooses to. Stop explaining yourself to those who refuse to see. Let your work speak. Your lanterns shine, don't they? Yes, they do. Then let them shine and be silent. Silence is not weakness, my son. It is strength wrapped in peace. The old monk placed a weathered hand on Thomas's shoulder. The truth doesn't need to shout, it simply is, and those who truly wish to see will find it in the light you create, not in the words you speak. Thomas returned to his workshop that night with a new resolve. No more explanations, no more defenses, no more justifications. Just work, just light, just peace. The next day, when Mr. Clark passed his shop and muttered another insult, Thomas simply nodded politely and continued his work. "Good day, Mr. Clark." When villagers gossiped within earshot, Thomas didn't correct them, he didn't argue, he just smiled and returned to his craft. Something remarkable happened. Without the burden of constant explanation, Thomas's energy returned. His hands grew steadier, his focus sharper. His lanterns began to shine with a quality they'd never had before. Travelers passing through the village noticed. They stopped to buy his lanterns, praising their exceptional quality. Word spread beyond the village borders. "These are the finest lanterns I've ever seen. They burn brighter and longer than any other." Even the villagers began to notice. The paths lit by Thomas's lanterns felt safer, warmer, more inviting. The light was undeniable. And then, one quiet evening, something unexpected happened. Mr. Clark appeared at Thomas's door. No accusations this time, no anger, just a quiet, almost embarrassed request. I need a lantern for my home." Thomas didn't gloat, didn't say, "I told you so." He simply created one of his finest pieces and handed it with a gentle smile. "May it light your way, Mr. Clark." Mr. Clark left without another word, but in his eyes, Thomas saw something he'd never seen before. Respect, understanding, truth quietly acknowledged. Weeks turned to months. Thomas continued his work in peaceful silence. His reputation grew not through his words, but through the steady glow of his lanterns lighting every corner of the village. One evening, sitting in his workshop, surrounded by the warm light of his creations, Thomas reflected on the monk's words. "I used to think silence meant giving up. I thought if I didn't defend myself, I was weak. But now I understand. I was giving away my power with every explanation. Every justification drained my light." He realized something fundamental. You cannot force someone to see what they refuse to see. You cannot make someone believe what they've decided not to believe, and you don't have to. Your truth doesn't need their validation to exist. Thomas no longer wasted his fire trying to illuminate minds that had closed their windows. Instead, he kept his flame burning brightly within himself, and naturally, those with open eyes found their way to his light. He had discovered a profound freedom, the freedom that comes from no longer needing others to understand, the peace that comes from letting your work speak for itself, the strength that lives in silence. Thomas Gray's story teaches us something vital in this age of constant explanation and justification. Not everyone deserves your explanation. Not every accusation requires your defense. Not every misunderstanding needs your correction. Some people have already made up their minds, and that's okay, because your truth isn't dependent on their belief. Your worth isn't measured by their understanding. Your light doesn't dim because they refuse to see it. The real power lies in doing your work with integrity, living your truth with peace, and trusting that those who truly seek light will find it, not in your words, but in the way you shine. As the old monk said, "Silence is not weakness, it is strength wrapped in peace." I no longer waste my fire trying to light the darkness inside others. I keep it here where it belongs. And perhaps that's where yours belongs too. What battles are you fighting that aren't yours to win? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, let me know. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share it with them. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply let our light shine.